What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. It only took us 28 years to get here, if you believe the weird time jump that like it jumps but doesn't quite jump to 28 years, but whatever. I'm gonna take it because I thought this movie was pretty badass, and we're gonna tell you why with the crew here tonight. Starting with my head of life, Major. What's up, brother?
Okay, well, apparently as you can see here, the internet connection is not the greatest on the island because my camera decided to shit itself. But that's okay because we're back now. It's hard here with 28 years of no internet and no nothing for the mainland. So I'm just glad I'm in the passenger princess seat today. I don't have to do shit except set the whole stream up, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, Jeremy just gets to sit there and look pretty on Tuesdays. That's all he has to do. And of course, the shape of the Lone Star State, my man Tex. What's up, brother?
Out of all the shocking things that this film has to offer, the most disturbing thing is how Brits cook bacon. I found that more offensive than anything. That was as raw as shit. I don't care what anybody said. I know the English breakfast is blah, blah, blah. That may be why they lost the war. They don't know how to cook their bacon. That's all I'm saying. There's something there. I'm not sure what the connection is.
Well, if you believe the way they were talking, they don't really get that much bacon. So after 28 years, they probably forgot how to.
Right, but I'm a bacon lover. I mean, who doesn't love bacon?
Yeah, but
I was offended at that point. I don't know.
I think 28 years later, and they probably still think beans on toast is a fucking thing, and it's not.
Right. Well, like I said, I mean, over there, air conditioning is like a myth. Like they don't even believe that shit. Whatever. But
well, I mean, what did he say in the first movie? You ever think needing rain so badly? Not in fucking England.
But yeah, Brits, learn how to cook your bacon because that's a good way to get salmonella for it, other than the rape virus. Figure your shit out.
Well, they also have bangers and mash and spotted dick. So, I mean, what do you expect from them anyway?
Well, if you got spotted dick, I recommend a good doctor, but that's a whole other issue.
I've heard spotted dick is actually very good. We're going to have to ask Casey what dick tastes like. Anyway, moving on to the whole reason we're here today. We're here to talk about 28 years later.
Oh, it was good.
25 post-apocalyptic horror film produced and directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland. It is the third installment of the 28 Days Later film series, following 28 Days Later, which came out in 2002, and 28 Weeks Later, which came out in 2007. This film stars Jodie Comer. I know I'm always pronouncing her name wrong. That's just how I always do it. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Alfie Williams in his feature film debut, and the great Ralph Fiennes. The film marks the returns of Garland and cinematographer Anthony Dod Mantle to the series, all of whom worked on the original film, with original star Cillian Murphy also serving as executive producer. It was shot back-to-back with its sequel 28 years later, The Bone Temple, which is set to be released in January of 2026. 28 years later was released in the United Kingdom and the United States on the 20th of June, 2025. The film has received positive reviews from critics, and in its first weekend grossed back its entire $60 million budget. On Rotten Tomatoes, 89% of 211 critics' reviews are positive. The website's consensus review reads, quote, 28 years later taps into contemporary anxieties with the ferocious urgency of someone infected with the rage virus, delivering a haunting and visceral thrill ride that defies explanation. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I'll go to you first, Tex. Give me some quick thoughts on the movie before we get into the spoiler stuff.
Yeah, I saw this opening day. Well, I've seen it twice as I normally do. I even got the poster from AMC, so thank you, AMC. I wasn't sure what to expect from this one. Obviously 28 Days and Weeks are such drastically different films, and God, was that trailer misleading to what the movie actually ended up being. I was kind of had to take back for a minute. But yeah, I was impressed. It was definitely, it was a thinker. Jeremy and I actually talked, in a side DM group because we didn't want to spoil it for you the other day. We went on for a good hour or so going back and forth talking about it. But I enjoyed the film. It was shot more like it's a series, like a Walking Dead, than a movie. But overall, I liked what I saw. Some really good kills. Half point deduction for fake nudity. I have to put that in at the top because that's just unforgivable. But yeah, fun movie, cool kills. Somebody played Mortal Kombat before they made this movie, I think. But I was impressed with it.
So you're upset that they didn't show more of the Alpha guy's wang. We get it. We get it.
No, well, see. Okay, here's the problem. If the rage virus makes
still not.
well, no, see, no, there's the problem. If the rage virus makes Alpha's ding dongs bigger, how come titties ain't get bigger? Well, how come we didn't see some gigantic
What
honker?
the hell are you talking about?
Oh, we didn't see barely enough. We didn't see
got a full
enough.
frontal and a. Or you know what?
Well,
It was not. No, it was fake. It was half point deduction.
You know
for
this whole movie's fake, right? This is
you know, pretend it's not really a rage virus.
half point deduction.
You know
There
what?
is no
We've not been to
appeal.
Britain. We don't know.
The judge has ruled half point deduction. Either way, just continue. It is what it is.
The judge from Texas is going to be investigated here soon. How about you, Jeremy? Give me some of your quick thoughts of the movie before we explain to Tex why fake boobs and fake wang are totally okay.
I'm sure if there was some human woman out there with fake tits stripping on a pole, you would have no problem with it. Those are fake too. But
Oh,
anyway,
no.
I digress.
If you can
No,
feel
no,
them,
no,
they're
no,
real.
no.
There's a difference. There's a difference. We're about to
still not
argue right
real.
now. We're going to throw down, sir. I
I'm gonna
got
reach
news.
all the way to Texas. I'm gonna strangle you.
You
Oh my god,
come and take it. That's all I got to say, my friend. Come and take it.
it's a big stay. It might take me a minute though. I'll be looking for a long goddamn time. Anyway, I think I like his poster better. I mean, I got a poster too from Cinemark for
I
coming.
got the
I'll
same
trade
one
you.
that Jeremy got.
I'll trade
I
you.
got two.
There you go.
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was that, and it was actually the map of the. Of
Well,
the island
this one-
all written out.
This one is a set of two. Apparently, the one that's coming out with Bone Temple matches it. They haven't showed what it looks like, so I don't know. It is what it is. So.
The only other cool thing about this is I don't know if I can do it on here, but if you can.
Yeah, mine doesn't have the map on. I didn't get that.
Well, no, but like in the middle of the map, you move it the right way, you can see Memento Mori across the middle of the poster.
Remember to die.
Which I was like, that's cool. I wonder what that means. Yeah, I'm in line waiting to get snacks to go to the movie, and I'm like, well, that makes sense. I know the phrase. I understand it. I've watched Unis Honest as well. If you know, you know. But yeah, no, I kind of agree with the like the trailer was awesome. It had me excited. I mean, it was kind of one of those. This is one of the exceptions that I'm just banging my fist on the table with my credit card, like take my money. I don't care. I want to see this movie. And maybe I kind of let myself down because it sounds dumb to say that I expected something and then none of it happened. So I was kind of confused, maybe more so, maybe than let down, but I was kind of like, okay, I don't need everything explained to me, but like, give me something to be explained. I'm like, I'm not the people in this movie where, no, you're not going to explain this, virus, why it's still here after almost 30 years. I'm like, I'm an audience member. Give me something at least. You gave me nothing. I was like, yeah, you can't say it's evolved on your poster and then not explain any of that. I don't know. There are some things that like weren't there. It was not a bad movie. I did enjoy it, and like he was saying, there are some pretty gnarly kills. I hope we talk about the ending because you want to talk about whiplash of a tonal shift. I was like, oh, I was here for this whole ride.
That's who they are.
That's the new band name right there. You see it on my quote, Jimmy and the Tracksuit Teletubbies. It's gonna take off in Britain. I'm telling you. I had fun. It was a fun movie. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, I sometimes forget that that in the universe the world ended in like 2007. so all the things that
it
came
did for the main
in our world. Yeah, all the things that I mean, even like the whole reference, like Jeremy's calling them a tracksuit Teletubbies. It's actually a reference.
You can't tell me.
It's actually
they're the Apocalypse Power Rangers. They're doing karate and they're all wearing different colors. That's who they are.
It's actually a reference to Jimmy Savile, and there's a reason why I made
that.
Why?
That's
a lot of people here in the States don't really know it, but that's why I
keep him away from the
Google
children.
Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's a story that will fuck your world up. That story.
You got time? Look it up.
Yeah, that story will ruin your day. But but the fact
eat beforehand because you won't be hungry afterwards.
Yeah, the fact that none of that came out in this universe is really weird. For those of you who don't know, Jimmy Savile was like almost literally Elvis over in the UK. I mean, he was the biggest thing in the world for like 50 years. And then he ran into some problems after he died, ironically enough. But I honestly, I really liked the first movie for its tonal style, the way it was filmed, that grittier kind of sepia thing. Like I was like when you guys were doing the the review for it. I even went in the chat and said I liked it. It has that look of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that grainy quality that makes it feel more real. The film has a texture. The second film, I thought they kind of went the not a bad movie. I like it, but I think they kind of went the same way that they went with the Alien sequel, Aliens, and with Terminator 2, the sequel to Terminator, is that they went more actiony rather than really expanding the story a lot, because really it's like we already know that the rage virus is happening. We're just going to make an action movie that surrounds it, and there's some good story in there, some good emotional stuff. For the most part, they leaned on the action more than they leaned on the characters. This movie was the perfect balance of those two. There was good action, there was really high emotion. My favorite scene in this entire franchise happens in this movie. A beautifully done scene, high emotion. It's like part of me was kind of hoping that, and I'll explain why, but part of me was kind of hoping that a horde or some infected was going to attack in that moment, just to kind of tone down the emotion of it a little bit, because I was like, damn, deep shit. But yeah, overall, this is, to me, I think, the best movie of the franchise so far. I mean, I know they're going to make at least one movie coming out in January, but yeah, to me, this is the best film, or the most complete film. It's got the best balance of infected stuff, action sequences, high emotion, great character development. I like, from beginning to end, this movie was just really awesome. But let's get into some of the questions now. Let's talk about Danny Boyle. I don't think I actually got a picture of Danny Boyle, so we'll just go right here, because I've got some trivia about this guy here in a little bit too. Let's talk about the return of Danny Boyle. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. What did Danny Boyle and the crew of the original film coming back mean to you? How do you think it affected the way the story was told? And are you glad that he ultimately came back and they didn't leave this to somebody else?
I'm always glad when somebody who has, you got the original stake in the movie, like him and Alex Garland, excuse me, coming back gives me a lot of hope, because I mean, we know that 28 Weeks was directed by someone else, but it's not like he wasn't still there. You know what I mean? It's like the Empire Strikes Back thing. Like, yes, it was Irvin Kershner who directed the movie, but it's not like George Lucas wasn't still there. You know what I mean? Still right behind him. So it works. And this is what I'm saying, that there are movies that come out a lot further down the line that are the few exceptions, and there are caveats to that, and that being one of them, that I'm like, okay, I have more faith in your ability to make this great, because it is the same minds behind the whole thing. Now, sometimes that doesn't happen. I'm looking at you, Matrix, Revelations, Resurrection, whatever the fuck that was.
Wachowski, whatever they are this week.
Yeah, I was like, you still at least had one of the Wachowskis come back, but I was like, okay, maybe not so good. And I love those movies. Everyone just thinks it should have been one. I'll take all three. Yes, I said all three.
I actually like the third one pretty good. It's not bad, actually. I enjoy it.
It's not the best of the three, but I will take it. I mean, for rounding the story,
it's a popcorn movie. It's not a great movie. It's a good popcorn movie. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, when you have like a computer generated, world with sentinel monsters coming to kill you, I mean, sure, I don't care.
Right.
Just fire away, guys. I don't give a shit. Yeah, that definitely helps. So like I said, I didn't dislike this. I mean, I just kind of put my faith in these guys, that I'm like, okay, you're probably going to give me something really cool here, because this is kind of your baby here of what the previous two movies. And I like the idea of this, because I still don't know why we didn't do Months. I mean, I think you have a prequel, a pre-sequel, something somewhere in the middle there. We can play with,
something.
Something. But I think, again, there are a couple things that I have issue with, and I think the very first thing was in the first title screen of this movie that I'm sure we're going to talk about. I wish I would have actually here. While you do that, I'm going to put the picture back in, and I won't say a word, Frank. I'll just leave you to it, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But passing the ball. I'm going to. Yeah.
Well,
that's the layup.
Tex, how about you?
I don't know sports. Fuck you guys. There's the ball. Catch it. You know what to
Don't
do.
ask the non-sports guy about sports ball. He's not going to get it. It's not going to
Setting
work.
myself up for failure. Yeah.
Well, how about you? How about you, Tex? Give me your quick thoughts on Danny Boyle and the crew, the primary crew that created the first film, coming back to make this one. How big of a difference did it make to you?
Well, I think Jeremy hinted on it there when he was just speaking a minute ago. It felt genuine. It felt like it was like, I mean, could you imagine John Carpenter coming back to a Halloween? Like it's George Lucas to Star Wars. This is his baby with Danny Boyle. And kind of what you talked about a minute ago, Frank, of how this one, at least this one for me, yes, and I agree. I think this is the best in the franchise, even though it's got some, I've got some nitpicks, but not bad. What Danny Boyle coming back for me is you get the shot, like you get the feel of the first movie. What this movie combined the art house style with the action of the second. And I think that's maybe what you were just talking about a minute ago, Frank, of how stylized and storytelling with the first one, with the action and the gore and the blood of the second film. And I like how Danny Boyle bringing back I mean, at some point, every horror franchise does this, oh, we're doing a Jason movie. Kane Hodder has to come back, or, so many other people have done it. Robert Englund came back to Freddy, not in a movie, but in other ways. And Danny Boyle coming back. I mean, this is his baby from the start. Nobody's going to know it better than him. If you're going to kick off a franchise, you need to do this. Hell, Halloween did this in 2018 by bringing back John Carpenter, not to film, but to do the music because he knows it so well. And when you're reintroducing a property like the 28 franchise, you need to have the original people there on some level. So bringing back Danny Boyle and Alex Garland was the right move to make because, it's like you said, this movie basically making the money it did weekend one pretty much seals up that they're making the third one. Now, will it make as much money as the first one? Probably not. But, him coming back, I think helped with that tremendously.
Yeah, I think them coming back, I think it was perfectly timed. I don't mind them having stepped away from the first one. I know Alex Garland had said that he had wanted to step away and do some other things. He ended up writing Civil War, amongst other things. Let me see. What else did he write in that time? I know there was one other thing that they had mentioned, but Warfare, that movie that came out that I haven't seen yet. Devs, things like that. But which is he's one of the creators, one of the writers of that miniseries, which I've never actually seen it. I've heard it's very good, but I don't really know. But he said he wanted to kind of break away and do some different things, and it's a good thing he did because I think it's great to come back with a fresh mind when you're trying to return to a franchise or to a property that you've dealt with before, but you need to get away. As a matter of fact, the Dark Knight movies, the Christopher Nolan movies, he made it a point. Like after he had done one of those Batman movies to go and do something else and not just to do like 2 or 3 Batman movies in a row. He wanted to escape that world a little bit to kind of keep his mind fresh and to kind of expand his mind a little bit. So that way he wasn't just kind of like steeped too much in the Batman world because he was afraid that by the time you got to the third movie of the trilogy, it'd be stale. And because he went away and did other things, he did Inception and I think he did Interstellar in there somewhere too. Because he was able to break away from the Batman world for a little while and get his mind somewhere else. He was able to come back and look at it with fresh eyes and have different ideas. And I think that's probably one of the things that benefited this film the most is that these guys had gone away and done other things. And now they're like, okay, now I'm back. What did we do for the first one that worked well? What was done for the second one that worked well? And they were, by the way, involved while not directing, producing, and writing and all that. They were involved in a part of. They were in the conversation with the people that made the second film, so they were part of it. They were still there to give creative input. So they weren't exactly hands off of the film, walked away from it, and a bunch of other clowns made a new movie about it. They were involved, so they were influential in that movie. But to come back, take the reins, and to really take the best parts of the first 2 movies to put it into one thing, give us new characters, give us a continuation of the world. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was great the way that they returned. I mean, look, Boyle's done pretty well for himself. I know Alex Garland, God, he wrote Ex Machina, which is, if you've never watched that movie, it's very crazy, very weird, it's a wild ending. Civil War I liked. Warfare I haven't seen yet. I've been wanting to. Like I said, Devs was a series that he was involved in that got a lot of really great reviews. He's also got some Batman. He wrote an episode of Batman Black and White, a TV miniseries. I did not know that. But also a lot of video game stuff.
I've seen Batman Black and White.
He's got a lot of Devil May Cry, some video game stuff. So, I mean, that should interest you, Jay. But as for Alex Boyle, I mean, look and see what Danny Boyle was getting into while he was doing that. I mean, well, he did. Let's see, Yesterday, which is the movie I still haven't seen, although I really want to, even though it didn't do great in the reviews. He did that Steve Jobs movie. He went back and did Trainspotting and Trainspotting 2, which Trainspotting 2 is the first sequel of his own movies that he's ever actually done before this one. He did the Steve Jobs movie. He did 127 Hours about the guy following. He did Slumdog Millionaire, came before all this. So yeah, he's pretty good at making movies himself. So to break away and to do something else and to come back to this with some fresh eyes was probably the best idea, because I think it's probably one of the things that helped make this movie a lot better. And look who's here. He finally stopped talking about Chris Benoit for 5 minutes.
Actually, I don't want us to go off on this right now because it'll take up a good portion of the show, and this is for later on. But talking about these directors coming back, we all know the ending to 2? And Jeremy and I also talked about this before. Did they retcon their own franchise?
I'm gonna bitch about that here in a minute.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying.
I shouldn't have gotten rid of the damn picture. Frank, you found it. I was trying to find that damn picture of them
because
I can't.
I still have it.
I went back to see this movie again just because of did they retcon 2? Because I've got questions. I don't know.
Tex, I did just read when I was trying to find that picture. I found a picture of that shot of them running in Paris,
right?
And the article said like, oh, straight up not Danny Boyle, Alex Garland, the writer, straight up addressed like the so-called confusing canon to 2's ending, and basically they're like,
okay.
He literally said like, canon's not really a Danny Boyle word. I'm like, oh, so fuck you then is what he meant.
Oh,
like,
that's great. So if he doesn't care, why should we then? Who gives a shit? Whatever.
Well, it's part because it tried to lead into the fact that there's supposedly no Cillian Murphy, which if Frank saw the way I edited these pictures, I didn't see how you named him. This one here, let me present my artwork to you guys. This one is labeled totally not Cillian Murphy. The next one it's totally Cillian Murphy.
Right.
I will fight tooth and fucking nail, shirtless in the fucking rain.
Yeah,
I agree. Over the head with a crowbar. You are not going to convince me that's not him. Now, that's a shitty way to put him in the movie if he just gets capped as soon as you see him. But I'm like, I thought that was kind of cool. I'm like, damn, if that's the handoff, that's one hell of a handoff. So, but he's like,
that was clearly marketing as, hey, Cillian Murphy, he's in our trailer.
Well,
See, there he is.
As much as they kept showing an infected, especially all the infected, they kept showing this one.
Yeah.
What does it mean? There's so many things that in this
they
one
knew
that
exactly
what
they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing.
So I remain completely unconvinced. You could literally show me the actor. He could say it to my fucking face, and I'd still be like, no, it's not.
Right.
So, but they were talking about canon with like, oh, Jim could come back. I'm like, yeah, he could. So where is he?
I have a piece of trivia about that. We can go into it. We'll talk about it because they did exactly address this, and they were like, yeah, we kind of made it in the trailer like he's got infected, but it's not really the case. I'll explain to you when I read the trivia in a little bit.
I mean, that's called bait and switch. That's technically illegal.
That's what the whole trailer felt like.
Whatever. Yeah,
kind of false advertising. That's what I was saying. Is a lot of this stuff I felt like it wasn't the movie that I thought I was going to see. When I was looking for pictures, that's another one of those articles I found that said 28 years later is not the movie you thought it was going to be. I'm like, it wasn't. I wasn't mad about it, but I'm a little mad about it. That there's so many things that I have pictures of them. Of things
you weren't mad. You were disappointed.
Yeah, but not in the movie as a whole. I mean, I did enjoy it, and I like it being in this lexicon of this world. But I was kind of expecting something completely different. And when I kept is it on this? Hold on. No, it's not on this poster. But like every poster I keep seeing, I'm like, why is Jodie Comer's name on here first? Why is she top billed? I'm like, where the fuck is she at? Where? Oh, she's the crazy bitch in the bed. Oh, okay. Oh, we're gonna spend 2/3 of the movie with her. Oh, okay. So the dad doing his Robin Hood with his son, that was irrelevant. Okay. Oh, he's a piece of shit. Okay, well, never mind. Who cares?
We'll talk. I've got some trivia about some of those gripes that you guys have already had. But let's see. Case is saying he was trying to get Filthy Mouth Gamer to join us about this movie. I'll take Filthy or any of those guys from Ken's from Ken's Circle over here in the chat. Whenever they want to come in, I was actually watching Ken's live stream from his
He's
car the
doing-
other day.
what
when I
was
was
this
at work.
filthy mouth?
Invite him over to what?
Filthy Mouth Gamer is one of the guys. He hangs out over on Ken's channel. It's
On a Ken's channel,
a bunch of
network.
a bunch of good dudes over there. They're real fun to watch. I was actually watching
they're
Ken's
cool.
live stream.
I think all Casey saw was he had a filthy mouth, and he was like, man, I got to put this guy in.
No, Casey doesn't have a filthy mouth. Casey has a full mouth of McNuggets. Is what Casey has.
Well, it's not
Casey
his
said
mouth.
He also says we need to get me, Frank, Jeremy, and the Rose to do a squad on Fortnite. Why? So you can watch us all get kills, and you just stand there and collect.
Well, so I got to keep buying your card back and keep carrying you. It's gonna be a trio game. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you may as well.
Jeremy's gonna have to stretch because
me, Jeremy, and Rose may just get together for a trio, and we'll just stream it. And you can watch because that's pretty much how it goes for most games anyway.
Just spectate.
You just spectate.
We'll still get clapped though. My God.
Getting back to the important stuff.
Anyway,
let's see. Now let's take a minute to talk about the cast. The cast of this film is fantastic. There's not a bad actor in the bunch here. Everybody, even the people that just get like a couple of minutes of screen time, are very, very good. I'll go to you first, Tex. What do you think of the cast of the film and who stood out to you the most?
Oh, they got everybody from Craven the Hunter to Lord Voldemort. They got them all here. Right. I mean, it's nuts the people that they had in this film. But I have to shout out my boy Eric. The dude had everything going for him. Smoking hot girl, respected military man, all to get thrown away and carry some crazy broad who can actually walk. I felt so bad for Eric. The actor's name is, I had to look it up something. Never seen him before. Edvin Ridley is the man's name. But yeah, this dude, we don't get him long in this movie, but he is so memorable. Just from the scene of, my phone's on 1% and shows the kid, the supermodel with all the plastic surgery, which, whether it's girlfriend or not, who really knows. He's like, what's wrong with her? Her lips look like she's, a pufferfish or whatever. That scene was hilarious. Both times I saw this in the theater, people laughed as hard as they could. But, he shows up and you think he's going to be the jerk military character because every military man in this franchise is either a killer or a rapist. There's no way around it. And it was cool to see a military man who was actually a good guy and carried a crazy lady for God knows how long for her to just hop up and walk, and then he just eats a sack full of apples because that's all Spike had. So he was refreshing to see in this film. Great death, by the way, getting dragged out of the train car and getting the head ripped out, Mortal Kombat style and the whole thing. I thought Eric was great. He had the comedic relief. You felt bad for him because he tells the whole story about I thought my friend threw his life away being a delivery driver, but now I'm stuck here when I could just be stuck in traffic. You felt so bad for this dude. But Eric for me was, I could list 5 different characters that I loved from this movie, but Eric for me took the cake.
Yeah, I think it was funny. I think it's this shot right here. Well, maybe not. There was one shot maybe where you can kind of see. Maybe we didn't get it, but you can kind of see where Ralph Fiennes is just kind of carrying his head around like he's carrying like a satchel of oranges or something. Yeah. And it wasn't just like for a minute; it was for like the next 10 or 15 minutes of the movie, which I found hilarious. He's just.
I can't wait till we talk about Ray Fiennes in this movie because I've got some questions about it. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Jeremy, how about you? What do you think of the cast of the film and who stood out to you the most?
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to copy Tex's homework. Also, because if you also notice when I labeled these pictures, I didn't know a single fucker's name in this movie except for Eric. I'm like, I labeled it Eric because I'm like, I remember it. Well, I know Spike because I said his name. They had to say his name in every single sentence.
By the way, Spike's a dumbass that hates his whole community, by the way. He just got everybody killed. Just want to throw that in for free.
Okay, I'm glad you agree with me. I think, because I'm like, I don't remember anyone's name from this movie, but I remember Eric. And it did help, not only did it still say, echo what Tex said, but he is kind of that thing that gives me the when I saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, we have people in fully kitted out military gear, they have guns, but I'm getting this other I'm seeing the father and son go out with almost not like robes, but like bows and arrows, knives, very primitive stuff. So I'm like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? I'm like, is this current? Is this a flashback? I never know. And to see it be current, I'm like, this is the thing that kind of helps anchor it in this world that even 28 years later, I'm like, the outside world is still a thing. It's still going on. They're like, dude had a cell phone, which, as you said, well, in about 2 minutes, it's going to be a brick. Chucks it in the field. I'm like, yeah. So you still know that the world's still going on through him. That like, and it's like that it's this otherworldly kind of place where he's like kind of fascinated by Spike. He's like, oh, you're a native. Don't you know this? He's like, no, like they would have no idea. Like it's cool to see that detachment come from these two different characters that live in completely different worlds.
Right.
Yeah, he had a pretty badass, Mortal Kombat finisher happen to him. I think the Alpha's a fan of Scorpion, so I can.
No shit. Yeah.
that
Clean break on that spine, by the way. He got right between the vertebrae and the whole thing.
Yeah,
like, he did that real well.
Straight out. Yeah, and I felt bad too because I was kind of like, we know how the military goes in these movies. Like he said, like,
yeah,
I was like, he's a little young, but I'm like, maybe he's okay. Well, and I get mad because he dies.
Well, you've been conditioned by this franchise that anybody in uniform is the bad guy. Literally everybody up until him has been a piece of crap. So it's like I'm saying, it's refreshing to see a good one.
And then it doesn't help because I'm like, I know, I'm of that generation that grew up with this film franchise. I'm like, it's Ralph Fiennes, so I'm like, well, he's Voldemort, and I'm like, constantly like sitting back, like, is he bad? Is he bad? I don't know. Is he bad? Thankfully, the Doctor was cool. I was surprised. I was like, he could totally
question about that
some twisted villain.
He covers himself in iodine because the savages don't like it. He had no problem grabbing him up by that iodine covered shirt. So does it do anything whatsoever? Because I don't think so.
I mean, he is just kind of, he is in the Alpha is just kind of raging. It's not like he may be the special case, but because he did still have to hit him with that little blow dart with the drugs to get him to like stop.
Right.
Maybe the other infected don't. I was seeing the I Am Legend thing there kind of as a parallel where I'm like thinking the whole time, like I've seen these movies before. I'm like, just take the baby, give him the baby, he'll go away. I'm telling you, that's why he's there.
100%. Once again, a child
right there.
How many zombie apocalypse movies does a kid either cause the apocalypse or just bring everybody down into it? That baby's going to get every one of them people killed. 28 years of work on that little island to keep everybody safe just got undone. All because that doctor and that kid. Which, by the way, since we're already here, I'm going to say about it. I think Ralph Fiennes is evil in this movie. Go back to how they talk about that kooky doctor in the beginning of this film. We don't see mom die. If there's nobody, she ain't dead. I think that doctor is holding her and testing on her somewhere. I think he's going to end up being revealed as a villain. I don't think she's dead. I'm just throwing it up.
I think it would make more sense to, if you're going to test on somebody, test on the baby, because the baby is apparently
got
it, but not transmissible. I don't know what the medical term would be.
Is she just like a carrier?
Well, think about it. She's got cancer, and obviously there's some rage issues happening. It was established in this film he's not exactly right in the head. So maybe he's like, hey, I've never seen this before. I'm just going to tell Spike that, I took care of mom. There's different kinds of death. Send him on his way, only to be revealed that mom's still alive. I think that's going to happen in movie 2.
That's a bit of a stretch.
That frustrated me.
I don't know.
Like, him being a doctor, and he would know. And I'm like, I don't know how he didn't explain to Spike. I mean, I assume he doesn't know what cancer is. More than likely.
Well, yeah, he doesn't know what
he could have explained to him. He's like, kid, even before this world went to shit for you, there was still never a cure for this. You can't do anything about this. And that's the shitty thing about
up until that day, he had never seen trees before. So cancer is something new.
Now, could this be an I Am Legend thing where it's like, remember the mom in 28 Weeks had some, because she had that different genes with her eyes.
The two eyes. Yeah.
So I'm like, is this like where cancer is for somehow the not the cure, but like something to do with it.
Well, just because she has cancer does not mean that she's infected or immune. She has cancer, which because like 3 minutes into the movie, I'm like, she has a brain tumor. I'm like, sorry, I'm not a
she's
fucking
screaming.
I'm not a fucking doctor, but I know what this looks like. They just don't know what it looks like because for 30 years they haven't had anything better than like
Any sort of medical anything.
They don't even have WebMD to rely on, for Christ's sake. So it's like they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, because that's
Shit together, England.
Oh.
Yeah, but
I'm sweating and my head hurts. Oh, you got herpes. What? What's going on here?
She's a witch. Burn her at the stake.
Right. Yeah.
One of my favorite memes. I share it every now and again. I actually keep it on my phone and laugh. It's an old time drawing of like a doctor like back in the early 1900s, and it says being a doctor in the early 1900s would have been so dope, just drunk all the time, telling people, yeah, you got ghosts in your blood. You should do cocaine for it.
Yeah.
Can we go back? Because I'm down for that. Was drunk all the time. I'm
taking up
there,
that shit.
so
You won't feel
good.
You won't feel a damn thing. It's crazy.
Just say.
But if you're done, Jeremy, sorry. The cast for me was fantastic. I mean, there wasn't a person in here that didn't do very, very well at their role. The one who I was most impressed with, for one, Jodie Comer. I mean, God, she's so good in this movie.
She carried this movie.
Of all the high emotion stuff about this movie, it's all really about her and her son. And I got to admit, I am really blown away with just how good this kid, what's his name, Alfie Williams, with just how good he was in his first time out. You got not a big budget movie. It's not like a Marvel big budget movie, but it's a movie that you knew were gonna have a lot of eyes on it. A lot of people were gonna be critiquing it. You're coming into a really successful franchise to play an important role, and this kid just hits a home run in every way, shape, and form. I was really impressed with the way that he played. At moments, the naivete of a 12-year-old boy. And at times, finding that inner strength when he needed it the most. Even at the end of the movie, where he's just like that note, I thought was a fantastic way to end the movie.
I had a picture of the dad, and I couldn't get he was like in the water, like screaming. He had the note in his hand. I was like,
I
thought that was a fantastic way to end the movie for his character.
I did want to scream Carl every time he came on screen because that's all that I saw.
I think he's more badass than Carl. I think he's way cooler than Carl.
He could actually hold his own.
Yeah.
Just say, if this kid loses an eye, Walking Dead, like Robert Kirkman needs to sue because I know where they got that from. I'm just saying,
and not to take away from the job that Aaron Taylor Johnson does in this film. I mean, he's fantastic.
He was so good. We got so little of him in this.
I was kind of bummed. I was kind of bummed that they went away from his character for most of the second and
That's another one of my big problems with this.
I feel like that as soon as because that he doesn't, that when the kid leaves to take his mom to go see Dr. Crazy Person, that it doesn't take 15 minutes to get there. That's going to take days. So for days he would have known. You think for days that guy would have sat around his kitchen table crying like a bitch with a skinned knee because he left? He'd be out there looking for him. I don't understand why that wasn't worked into the story in some way, that his journey to try to catch up to them or to at least find them. Maybe not knowing exactly where he was going, he's kind of searching, or at least trying to beat him to the doctor so he can say, hey, this dude's a fucking nut job, don't deal with him. But
that's why I say this felt more like a series than that's why I say this felt more like a series of shows than a film, because kind of how I broke this down, especially in the second viewing, was this was like 3 episodes of Walking Dead, where the big action in the season premiere on episode 1, then episode 2 and 3 was the fallout and the breakdown. And for the son to just leave with mom, why was dad not going for him? Of course, we're going to see it in part 2. That's the whole point. But I'm not saying I wanted dad to find son in this movie. We keep Aaron Taylor Johnson out there on his own looking for his son. We can have a whole scene about, the old lady that controls the gate saying, oh, if somebody leaves, there's no rescue. And him saying, oh, to hell with y'all. That's my son. I'm going after him. I don't care what you say. Have him out in the woods. He can then become the B storyline, where Spike and the mom are the A story. You can still do everything else. It doesn't add any more time to the movie, and you get a more complete story. Kind of didn't feel fleshed out. I thought that was a mistake.
And before we get too much more into the plot, of course, Ralph Fiennes, who's kind of dope and everything.
Oh, he was
Ralph
great.
Fiennes.
He was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
He played a great crazy person. Crazy, but not crazy at the same time.
Was he crazy?
Well, he's crazy,
I
but
love that back and forth with like the grandfather saying like, "Oh, I know him." He's like, "Yeah, stay away from him. Like he's insane."
yeah.
But I'm like,
Well, that's what I'm talking about with
like,
that grandpa scene. I think there's more to this guy. Yeah. Every once in a while, Ray Fiennes would give these little looks whenever it was just him spiking the mom, where like he wouldn't say anything, but the way that he would look at them, it looked nefarious. That's why I say I think there's more to his character that's going to be revealed later, where he's actually a bad dude. And I mean, come on, you don't cast Ray Fiennes, literally Lord Voldemort himself, and not have him be a bad guy. That is a wasted opportunity. So I think there's more to his story as well. I mean, with especially the Bone Temple being the second film, I hope he's the center of it. I really hope so.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
I don't know. We'll see. But now let's get into the plot of the movie. I'll go to you first, Tex. I mean, obviously, we've already delved into a few things already. What do you think of the plot of the film? Did it work for you? Is there anything you'd have changed?
Well, I like it, but I would have structured differently. Obviously, more Aaron Taylor Johnson, like I just touched on. I like the whole. I didn't mind the bait and switch of mom being the center of the story. I actually like that because honestly, it kind of took me back to the whole, Rick trying to find the wife in season 1 of Walking Dead and them trying to find the prison because she's pregnant and needs somewhere to get. I like stories like this in the apocalypse. Structurally wise, it could have been better. We need more Aaron Taylor Johnson. I would have kept Eric around a little bit longer because, like I said, honestly, I felt bad about his story. We got some really cool stuff introduced here. Now, the whole Alphas thing, that was stolen from Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead that he did on Netflix a couple years ago. They did the Alphas thing, I thought, a little bit better. They had more intelligence, whereas these guys were more caveman. Zack Snyder's version was a bit different. But yeah, I like the plot line. Like I said, structurally, this thing felt like at least 2 movies thrown together. They could have synchronized things a bit better. I would have thought, Frank, like you were talking about just a minute ago with, hey, my son and wife have been gone for like 3 days. What's going on? I'm just going to go get drunk in the pub and hang out with the whore I'm banging over here. Like, he's not going to ask any questions. Like, I think you should do that, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, it works. It's just, a few. I think this maybe one more pass in the editing room to tighten it up a little bit, I think.
Jay, how about you? What do you think of the plot of the film? Did it work for you, or is there anything you'd have changed?
Well, I was about 2 seconds in the movie, and I was already pissed off because there was something I would have changed. As we talked about, or it went kind of fast, and I was like, maybe because I was trying to read it and actually comprehend, like, did I really just fucking read that? You're like, oh yeah, by the way, continental Europe, yeah, it's cleaned up. It's Britain again. I'm like,
right.
Now, this is that joke that Frank always says with one line of dialogue, you can explain
one line of dialogue,
shit. I'm like, that is a whole lot of something you don't just put on a line and say, all right.
That's like a paragraph at least of dialogue minimum. Like,
that's at least worth a fucking scene. Now, that's what I'm saying. The 28 weeks at least opened up with, like, you followed suit with, not the zombies. The infected are starving and they're dying. Okay, great. Kind of hopeful. You go into weeks thinking, okay, now we're seeing the cleanup, which you don't often see. Like, now we're trying to reintegrate, like, let's get everything back on the right track, get everybody back into Britain one at a time. Let's do it right, by the book. No infected. Of course, as we know, we wouldn't be sitting here if that wasn't the case. So, and then you leave off on, like, well, what happened? You see an empty helicopter, some blood, and then zombies in Paris. I'm like, oh shit.
It was actually super easy. Play the thing. Play the thing. That was a setup.
Yeah, with one. Oh, I'm on the comments. Fuck. Where is it?
It was super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
There you go. Yeah, because we got it.
Some editor on his lunch break typed up, yeah, so we it went away and now it's in Britain again. I'm like,
yeah, he died, but he got cheated. Better. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's not.
You at least need an opening scene of that. Like I said, with weeks, I'm like, give me something. Don't just explain that. Yeah, it went away. Like, now, like I said, this is something I could say is
somehow Palpatine returned. It just
really. Somehow the rage virus came back. That's this whole series.
Right.
but something that I would say goes in the lexicon of like, British institutions like Doctor Who. I would say this is one of them. Like, yeah, this is kind of a cool. It's always, for some reason, Britain has the worst luck of now being this quarantined, albeit large, nation of now just rage zombies that just has to be left to be contended with on their own, so to speak.
Why would they just nuke Britain? Like, nuke the UK if that's the case. Like, why would they just do that?
Well,
because there's this thing called Fallout, and it sucks.
Yeah, that's
not
the
bomb. It's the after. It's the after that sucks.
There's bombs with low radiation that they could use, though. I mean, there's options.
We tried to torch it in the last movie, and it didn't work.
Oh, I don't know.
Somehow the dad came back, right? Jesus,
I don't know.
That damn key card, I swear, man, he's got a key card.
Don't say that, Frank. We'll go on 20 minutes about the key card again. We don't want to say
shield.
It really is.
It's like the power-up star from Mario Brothers when he has it in his pocket.
Right. Seriously. I just didn't like how they yada-yada'd over, like, yeah, continental Europe handled it, and like, right, you're going to tell me the French did that. Okay. Anyway, moving on. If it wasn't for us, the French would be speaking German right now, but they handled the rage virus. Okay, that makes sense. Whatever.
Yeah, but somehow they figured that out.
Right.
Yeah, we figured out the Third Reich, but not the rage virus. That's fucked.
Right.
Yeah. Well, wait. Could we call this? We could call this movie the Third Rage. I mean, yeah, that works.
Ooh, that works.
Posters. No, and then like basically the entire trailer is kind of what you saw in the first like act of this movie, and then we're like,
it's the first 10 minutes of the movie. Yeah, that's all it is.
And then again, another British institution I will quote is Monty Python. Then they just went, and now for something completely different. All right, guys.
They could have had the Black Knight just laying in the grass somewhere. That could have been fun.
At this point, you could have. But I didn't, like I said, I didn't hate it. I like the world building minus the title screen of the Aaron Taylor Johnson taking his son out to go onto the mainland for him for the first time to go kill some. Now I have a question about the infected. Why are they fat infected, and why are they just eating worms? And I don't think eating worms makes you that fat.
That's the whole thing about the evolution of this virus. It can either turn you into a fat little monster that eats worms out of the ground, or you're a rage, like you're a Dawn of the Dead zombie that looks like you're a stunt double for Thor. Like you become either or. There's no in the middle. Like I don't like fat zombies unless you're like bloated from like, you've been in the bottom of a well or something. That to me does. Zombies are supposed to be, skinnier. Supposed to look more can't think of the word I'm looking for now. But they're supposed to emaciate kind of look. Not fat,
Well, and then it's like Left 4 Dead does that. I mean, you have all kinds of different special infected. You got like the big bloaters. I mean, all they do is they pop, they spill shit on you, and you get attacked. But the fat zombies were interesting. I mean, it's kind of a fun way to introduce Spike into like killing his infected. And Tex definitely stole my fucking line, which I was going to use from the dad. The more you kill, the easier it gets.
That's the tagline. That I don't think they use that in the trailer, but yeah, that's obviously like the line that should be on the poster. That's one of those lines.
Yeah, but I like it worked. And again, I'm not a doctor either, but I kind of thought the mom was like, I was like, is she having Alzheimer's? What the fuck's her problem? Like, is she like schizophrenic?
See, I thought this was really Shane's situation, like how Shane was slowly turning while he was high. That's what I thought that was.
Yeah, I don't know, but it sets you on the path for like I said, Dr. Voldemort, and it didn't answer a whole.
Don't say that name.
I ain't scared of Mr. No Nose over there, but he
got the nose back.
Yeah, he was a cool character. Like I said, I think like we were saying with this next movie being the Bone Temple, there's more to be had, because I do want to have that Bone Temple explained a little more, because that's one of the most metal things I've ever seen. Like
how did they not make a popcorn bucket out of that human skull statue? I would have bought 3 of those. Like that is missed money that they left on the table.
Gamer hasn't seen these movies, so when I asked him to do a thumbnail, and I was like, the only thing I would add would be the Doctor. He's like, the Voldemort guy. I'm like, yes, him.
Yes,
And then
the
he
Voldemort
texts me
guy.
back. He's like, why is he always holding people's skulls? And I was like, how did you think that Temple of Skulls got there? And he just texted
Oh my
back.
God.
He went, oh, I'm like, yeah,
I
he's been
wish we
busy the
could
last
go
30
back
years.
and have him do a skull, like picture of Ralph Fiennes holding the skull, put a little skull star in it with glasses on it, like Harry Potter, just for an Easter egg nod. That could have been fun. That could have been cool.
I did
That'd be kinda
appreciate
funny.
his little Shakespeare.
Come on,
thing.
somebody
Like,
get on
like,
Chat GPT and make that shit happen for us.
Right, that's what I'm
Come on.
saying.
AI's
Take
come
Ralph
a
Fiennes
long
from
way
this
in the last couple
movie,
years. Let's do it.
but put the glasses on the skull with the little star on the front, like engraved into it. Or something. That'd be neat. That'd be fun.
yeah, like I said, I liked his little Shakespeare reference of like, he's like, Eric, I knew him well, or alas, poor Eric. I was like, fuck you, dude. No, and the last point that I wanted to make was you know what, I'm going to do it since I can also reach over and give Frank a little handy here. I love this fucking shot right
That's
here.
not going to be clipped.
Whatever, clip it. I said what I said. I'll walk up to Frank like that, just swinging in the wind. Anyway, if like I said, we have like iconic shots, like the one from the end of Weeks where we have
that's the Night of the Living Dead Romero.
This right here was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I love this shot.
Yeah.
And this is
that's what this poster is right here. If you put that on camera, I mean, it's the people. Let's see. It's the people standing within the skull. You know what I mean? Like you can see it.
Okay.
That's literally what that is. So,
but the thing, I remember what I always say is you got to go bigger for sequels. I didn't think you could make big zombies. Well, I didn't think you could make them any more terrifying. And you're like, oh yeah, there's alphas now. I'm like, there's fucking what? And then this big motherfucker standing on the hill, and then a bunch of them start crowding in. I'm like, wait, there's a hierarchy now. Oh Jesus Christ, that's not okay. They kind of, and this also happened in Walking Dead, but whatever. Everyone's stolen from everybody. It's not like when a show was on for 20 fucking years. Yes, they've probably stolen something, but they did a feral human thing in The Walking Dead, and that was kind of horrifying. It was very akin to this. They were actually humans, just kind of,
you talking about the Whisperers?
No. It was oh god,
the Wolves?
It was no. It was later seasons when the girl Connie, the girl that plays the deaf girl, because like she was walking around the house and she can't hear, but she like put her back. She could hear them like thumping around in the house, and she knew to get out of the way because she could hear them or couldn't hear them. Yeah, they were like, those things were horrifying, and that's what this reminded me of. So that was kind of cool to see. I like that little twist. And something else that I hope you do explain then, if you're not going to explain anything in this movie, is the kid not being infected, the little baby.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And the whole rage virus thing. Okay, you've obviously got rage virus mommy giving birth. Okay, so she's standing there giving birth. Jodie Comer walks in, and she's obviously not.
She did the Jurassic Park thing. She was like,
"Well, see, this is where I was
like, God damn it."
This is where I thought, okay, she's turning slowly, so they're not attacking her because she walks up and does the whole hand grab thing. I thought, well, if she's just regular human, even if she's giving birth, she's going after it because hell, go back to Dawn of the Dead. The Russian girl that's tied up in the bed, Mekhi Phifer's Russian wife. She dies. She turns giving birth because she was scratched earlier in the film. So now her baby comes out zombified. But in this one, the zombie lady or the rage virus lady gives birth, has a moment of clarity, does the handhold. And then the second the kid comes out, she snaps to go to kill Jodie Comer. So
weird.
I mean, what'd you think about that? I've got questions.
I did my head tilt where I was like, wait, what?
Right, yeah.
We're having a moment here, and again, my thing is that the kid came out infection free. At least I guess so we think, since the rage virus turns you like that. Now I'm
Right.
thinking like, now again, there's something else you didn't explain about these infected are. You said that they starve, so I'm like, okay, so either are they eating, have they lived this long, or are they reproducing? Do they reproduce like that and they give birth to rage infected
Well,
zombies, or is
they're
this an
obviously
anomaly
not
kid? Like, I
eating the
don't know.
deer
Like,
because look at how many deer just roving through this place. Which,
yeah,
by the way,
they live in
terrible
herds.
CG deer in this movie. Those deers look like crap. I do have to
Oh no,
call that out.
they ripped
horrible.
that from Walking Dead too. Remember that terrible CG deer
Right.
that Rick tried to shoot?
Yeah, that looked absolutely fine. That needed
That's
a
what I'm saying.
second
Like,
go
are
wrong.
these?
Yeah.
Is this like an ecosystem of like there's these infected humans that keep going, or have they
Right.
been here the whole time? Like I said, there was nothing explained at all. I'm like, give me
No.
something. It was cool, but I'm
I
like,
don't know.
you better explain a little bit more about this. Maybe the doctor knows. I don't know. Maybe Ralph Fiennes knows the whole reason behind this.
See,
I don't know.
it's because of crap like this is why I had to go see it again, because my nerd-loving zombie brain wouldn't let the shit go. And I kept fan theorying myself, and I needed clarification. So,
I almost went to go see it again because there was a guy behind us, like 2 rows behind us, who couldn't fucking be bothered to shut his phone off, and notification just ding, 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 ding. I'm like, dude,
I have
I
no
almost yelled. I'm like,
problem
dude, turn
calling
your
those
fucking
people
phone
out.
off.
Yeah,
I was like, I'll be kicked
no
out and I'll
problem.
buy no ticket, and I would definitely see this movie again. Like that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, I as much as I like the movie, there are some plot points that stuck out to me that I was kind of like, huh? Why?
Right.
For
Right,
one,
yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you on the whole, like the beginning, the preamble to the movie where it says they contained it in Paris.
Opening
I'm
crawl.
like, well, how did they contain it in Paris so quickly, but somehow the UK got run over? I mean, I don't really understand how that happened, but whatever. I mean, I'm glad that we're here in this universe because I'm having fun watching it. The other thing is the kid from the second movie who is apparently immune.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't, like, he's still alive at the end of the second movie. My guess is it's going to be widely known amongst survivors and other people that this kid has some kind of immunity. Have we not drawn a vial of blood from this kid and looked at under a microscope and figured out why? In 28 years, we haven't figured out why this kid is immune and what we can get from his blood. I mean, we can milk a snake and get antivenom to cure.
See, I think they stayed away from that because The Last of Us is going on right now. That's too similar. I think they stayed away from that on purpose.
But that's the thing is you
didn't too.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing is that you didn't, because it's already out there. So you can't just like not that's a really big plot point to not have some kind of explanation of. Now maybe and this leads to my other point a little bit. Maybe they're just like, screw it, we'll just let everybody because it says in that preamble, it's like they just kind of left on their own. But still, I'm like, they have to know. They've got battleships that are circling this island in this area to make sure that nothing gets in or out of the quarantine zone. They know that this island full of people who are obviously not infected is there. Did they not drop them some supplies? In 30 years, they haven't dropped them some food. So
they dropped them Eric
airdrops in 2004.
You don't even have to like bring any of them off the island to the non-quarantine zone and risk the disease spreading again. You can at least drop them some food, drop them some books, drop them something that will help them, some equipment, a couple of generators, something that will help them at least kind of hold their own, because they've got a pretty fortified place. The only way to get on and off that island is that one narrow causeway. So it's like you've got a pretty solid place to hold up there. The other thing is, and this is one of the things that really bothered me, why do we have, and Jeremy's already talked about it, why do we have 12 different kinds of infected? How did they evolve? Because evolution, for those of you who don't understand how evolution works, it takes place over a great period of time. Yeah. And one thing that you do not have when you get infected is time. Not only does the rage virus overtake you within a minute or two, but apparently people will starve to death after about a month, because that was kind of the whole point of the second movie, is that they were just waiting for all them to starve to death. So somehow they managed to not starve to death after 30 years and evolve into several different kinds of infected. You have the regular running infected that are trying to tear you up. You have the alphas. You have these I don't know, for lack of a better term, I'll call them bloaters, just because that's what we're used to using for Last of Us.
Well, that's what they were.
Or slugs. I think they crawl around like slugs, so I'll just call them slugs because they're all goopy and shitty. So you have these big fat slugs that are a different kind of infected. How did, over the course of 30 years, they manage to evolve at that level? You're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of years of evolution happening in 28 years, when the reality is they're going to be dead in about a month and a half. I don't understand how that works without some kind of an explanation. I get the explanation of the kid not being infected like the mother. That makes sense, depending on, of course, when the kid was conceived. If Alpha Guy was swinging it around and hooked it up with this infected girl, I don't understand how the baby's not infected. Now, I understand medically that can happen. There's plenty of examples of women who have, or HIV positive, that have children that don't have any trace of the virus in their bodies at all. Right. So that there's a medical prerequisite to that in real life. Mm-hmm. So that made sense to me, but I'm like, I still don't understand how all this comes to be without a little bit of explanations. And everything that I've read says that, the alpha hooked it up with this girl and that's where the baby comes from. And I'm like, I thought, because my impression is that all these people want to do is eat and tear shit up. That procreation is not necessarily one of the things that's first and foremost in their mind, because their mind's been taken over by the virus.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, that goes back. Well, that goes back to why I brought up Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, because they literally did the same thing where you had the alpha and the queen, or whatever they called her, their zombie bait, like they mated post being zombies. And once they go after that child, that's the whole plot point of that film. So that was another question that I had was, did this lady get infected pre or post pregnancy? Because I mean, if they're stealing the whole zombie birth thing, which has been done 100 times, but not like we actually see it in this one. But when did they make that child? Which, if she, I mean, it would make more sense if she was bitten post pregnancy, because then otherwise, why wouldn't the blood going into the baby already be infected, like you said, the whole HIV thing, whatever? But that's a big question. That's one thing. I think that's the main thing that I hate about this movie is it asks more questions than it answers. Yeah. And unless they're really going to deliver in this next movie, Bone Temple better be a banger. Otherwise, it's going to drag this movie down. Okay, go back to the opening scene for a second. We see the priest handing the kid that gold cross necklace, and he says, "Don't ever, take this off, baby." We never see that necklace again. Is that kid?
Yeah, we do.
Does that kid grow up to be Aaron Taylor Johnson? It probably does, but it doesn't specify who that kid is.
Did you see the final scene of the movie?
Oh wait, crap! Never mind. I'm wrong. Okay, yeah,
right there. It's right there.
Sorry.
Now, see, that's another thing. I thought that too. I was
I forgot about
building
that,
up to like, is Aaron Taylor Johnson the kid from the beginning? And they're like, nope.
Right.
He's this guy with.
I completely forgot that he was wearing that jacket. Sorry, I was so distracted by the Apocalypse Power Rangers costumes. I forgot about the gold. Yeah, you're right about it. So that answers that.
Yeah, so you also built that up and then didn't really. You're like, yeah, so here he is now. I'm like,
sorry about that.
Well, wait a minute. Can I see what happened, or do I gotta wait until next time on Dragon Ball Z? Like, god damn it! Why?
But that's the thing that with the whole zombie baby is. I know they did it in Walking Dead, they did it in Army of the Dead, they've done it in The Last of Us. It's a trope in zombie films. But I was really surprised that with The Last of Us being on TV right now, I'm surprised that they went with that kind of storyline. And with the last movie being about, the kids who can't be infected, there's so many other things you can do in a zombie apocalypse besides kids that can't catch it.
Well, they did that in Walking Dead too, and not only is Daryl in Paris, but also hey, look, I happen to have this child who is apparently the key to all humanity. I'm like, I think I've seen this a million times before.
Is your name Pedro Pascal? Is that who you are?
Apparently. Yeah, I don't know. So, I think, I think a cooler ending.
I'm just saying it's a overdone trope is all I'm saying. Do something different.
I like the shot of like the dad trying to like run through the causeway, even though like, you know, he knows like, oh, there's a current that'll take us out if we go when it's too high. And he still goes out there like trying to, you know, he's yelling for his son. I think what would have been fucking terrifying is like having him go out. And like I said, that baby is now, I know it wants to be hopeful. Like here, the kid's like, here, I found this baby. Take care of it. Bye. if like the dad went out and then like you would have seen at the end of the causeway, the fucking alpha standing right there. And then out of the fucking trees, here comes the whole rest of the horde. And it's just like, there's the end of your movie. It's like, oh shit, it's going to go off. Like
well, like I said earlier, they shot this like they were making a TV show. And that brings the film down a notch because
they literally shot the movie on iPhones.
Yeah, of course. Cool. But I'm saying
that was cool.
I'm saying story wise, they shot this like it was a series, and you can't do that in a film format because it could have been done better. I don't like how they did that. Whatever.
Those 180 kills were pretty damn sweet. That's almost like how they did the Matrix.
180 kills were sweet. Like, yeah, when they shoot the arrow and then go around.
That was crispy, and I liked it.
Which, by the way, I've deer hunted many times. That bow ain't penetrating that deep with those arrows. I'm sorry. That does not have the firepower. That is not going to
maybe infected or squishier. I don't know. Well, that's dead, I guess.
I don't know who freaking knows, but yeah,
I don't know.
That ain't happening.
Well, that leads on to the next topic I want to talk about. Let's talk about the effects, the kills, the blood. Again, I think they were probably better in this movie than they were in both the other two films. I'll go to you first. What do you think of the visuals? Were they visceral enough for you to complement the movie?
Oh yeah, well, that's what I like about this film is it took it upped the gruesomeness from 2, but it did it in the visual style of 1. And so it's got kind of a low quality at times. This movie's kind of hard to see clearly at times because you're going off of the first one because they use the iPhones and whatever. But I love the 180 Mortal Kombat kills, the whole ripping of the spine. Go back a couple episodes ago where I talked about that bright blood from 2. They went like a neon red blood at times, and it pops on screen when you're watching it. I went to a XL screen at the AMC I went to see this the first time, and it looked so good. You could tell that they went pretty practical, especially with the head ripping scenes and everything else. Mm-hmm. That looked awesome. I loved how they did that. I guess that's why they went cheap with the CG deer because they spent all their money elsewhere. But I'm glad that they spent their money where they did. Yeah, the kills looked good. If I had to go a favorite kill, oh God, unfortunately, probably my boy Eric, but just because of how dramatic that scene was. And I mean, this dude was just doing his job. And now I will say, I wish we could have seen his boat sink because was he on this boat alone? Is there other soldiers out there? Like, he can't be the only one, right? Like, there's got to be a platoon or something. I don't know. Maybe
we watched the rest of them die in that scene, right?
There was.
He was with the whole crew and they got torn apart.
There's room to leave it open for more. Like, I don't think we're quite done with him yet. Maybe. But, yeah, Eric's death seemed by far the coolest, and the whole zombie birth thing, and then mom flips the fuck out. Now, I will say, my second favorite, maybe even a battle first, is when Jodie Comer wraps the jacket around that one in that place that they're sleeping at and just bashes its skull just for the brutality of that scene. That one looked really good, though. I like that one as well.
Yeah, I don't understand what that scene was supposed to mean. I get that she did it, but the fact that she doesn't remember it, I'm guessing
that's
that was
what I'm saying. I was like, I thought she had like, was she having like memory problems? Like, because she was like, oh, who did that?
There's two things with that.
Oh, she did.
There's dreams in this movie that they didn't touch on that happen in that scene. And basically, I think anytime the kid sleeps, because we see mom flipping out, smashing the walker's head in or whatever, and kids like dreaming of like mom on fire in the water and all these other, like, what was that?
Yeah, now Frank, I'm glad he pulled that picture up because I'm like, what the fuck is that? Who is that? What is that?
That's an awesome mask, by the way. They need to sell those at Halloween.
But you didn't explain a damn thing. Like, again, you showed it in the trailer. Yeah. So, like, when I'm watching the trailer, I'm thinking, like, oh, okay, so what is this? Like I said, this is an apocalypse almost 30 years deep. I'm like, I would believe that there's, like, other deranged people out there, other tribes, or other, like, people that are, trying to get by, and I'm like, oh shit, who is this person? Like, what is this? Now, am I deeply intrigued by like 1 second of a guy in a bloody mask? Yes. And then you're like,
And then
yeah, so
mom's talking to
that
him
what you
with
saw
the
right there,
bloody eyes.
that was
and
it.
stuff.
That was the entire extent of that. I'm like, oh, okay, so we're just not going to explain that either.
Yeah, they do focus on that mask in a couple of scenes. I'm like, what is it? And they never really explain what. Did they find it on somebody, or is it supposed to be like a representation of something? Because they put emphasis on it in a couple of different scenes, especially like the party they're having when they get back from his first hunt. Yeah, and then it's focused on a lot of the dreams. And I'm like, if that mask is important, you're gonna give it a couple of like quick close-ups, but then you never really explain what it's all about. Are you kind of
even if that mask is important, to try to
address
it's basically useless
in the next movie?
Think about it. Eyes and mouth orifices are the most important thing in this world. Why are you leaving that exposed in battle? Like, your battle mask should not have that much open. Like, you should have like the Iron Man.
Remember what Danny Boyle said: canon doesn't matter.
I know, but he's
okay. That pisses me off so much.
I hate it. It drives me nuts.
Like I said, I don't know why you didn't give me a little more of that either, because like you said, they even show it. I'm pretty sure, like, weren't they target practicing on like fake dummies of straw that had that mask on? Because like the old man was even like, when he came back, he was wearing the mask with the arrow that was stuck in it. So I'm like, were these people that you came across that you killed that you had a fight with before or something? So
my thought was like maybe they wore those masks like somewhere in the past of the 28 years we don't see. And that was just a flashback in time, is all I could figure. Because it shows up, but they don't ever do anything. It's like it's set decoration.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you said, like more questions than you even gave me any sort of explanation for.
Right. Yeah.
I'm wondering if, since they plan on doing this bone temple, if they're not leaving a bunch of stuff out there to try to give you the answers, because like they have to know that like anybody, they have to know that most of the people who have seen this movie have probably seen the second one, so they're asking the same questions I did about the kid from the second movie. If he's apparently some carrier of a cure,
asking about Cillian Murphy, damn it.
Or maybe they're going to explain that that's how they stopped it in Paris. I don't know. I mean, we're not to that movie yet, so I don't know. But I mean,
here's the problem, though.
Is that mask going to be addressed in the next movie? Like, is that mask come from the doctor? Was it kind of like kind of a plague mask of some kind in this universe? If they're just asking all these questions to leave it open for the next movie, it's like, I don't know. The movie does end on a wee bit of a cliffhanger, but not the one that was so cliffhangery.
I don't feel like they're going to explain as much.
Yeah,
we can't even count on
cliffhangery that I don't think they're going to go back to a lot of stuff in this movie. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. That's why I'm worried about that.
They have Nia DaCosta, the woman that made that terrible Marvel sequel and that so forgettable Candyman movie that nobody talked about. She made the second movie. The second I heard her name mentioned, I automatically deducted like 5 interest points of what I had going, because she makes some terrible films. And there are so many questions left unanswered. I do not trust her to make the second in this franchise.
Sounds more like her name sounds like Ryan Johnson. Feels like it rhymes.
Pretty much. Yeah.
He's swung and missed at a few easy pitches, Ryan Johnson has, so maybe this person did as well. But that's probably a good time to segue on to the next topic is, what do you guys expect from the Bone Temple? Jeremy, I'll go to you first. Obviously, like I said, a little bit of a cliffhanger, not so much of a cliffhanger, but the world is definitely open for more things to happen.
Next time,
what do you expect to see from the next movie?
Well, like we've been talking, I expect to see a lot of these goddamn questions answered for once. With this thing, I mean, if anything else, they've heavily marketed as this visual right here. Like I said, it's on the poster I have. Like, and I think the skulls, like in the biohazard sign, were a really cool touch. So you keep like harping on that. I don't know if it's actually on this one or not. No, okay, so this one's just the temple. But like this thing, if anything, you have to explain that, because you don't have, Voldemort have his weird little hobby for 30 years of like, I'm going to make a whole temple out of people's bones. And I'm like, could you at least explain that, please? Like, there's something here, going on. Even though you didn't explain the whole, Europe just, pushed it back, but whatever. I want to see more of Ralph Fiennes, and maybe we'll get a little more of the history between like him and like why the grandfather knows him, and why they seem to have this falling out. Maybe I can't remember who was telling the story. They said that they came across him or something. They saw him down there like in his scrubs, and he just kind of casually with a body over his shoulder burning a whole pit. And he's like,
Oh no, they showed that he was down there. Ralph Fiennes had all the bodies like lined up like it was in like a
that was a sweet visual. That was creepy as shit. All the bodies in like rows.
Yeah,
a big burn pit.
Right.
Yeah, there's
more. There's more to him we haven't seen.
I was going to use the pun. Like, there's more meat on that bone, but I'll leave that. Yeah, there's something there for that.
There's more iodine on that body, or something.
Yeah. And if you're going to open up again this world with like there being other people, especially with someone like Spike, who has been probably isolated his whole life. I mean, they said it's the first time he's been to the mainland and doesn't know anything about it. And then again, you come across the fucking tracksuit Teletubbies. I'm like, okay, maybe explain that because you opened with that. With that picture, and I think that's
apparently parkour made right there in the apocalypse. So that that's
hardcore and Teletubbies. This kid took that to heart, and he said, "You know what? One day I'm gonna do that." He's like, "We're still working on putting the baby in the sun thing. We're working that one on the ground." And I want to see what happens to Aaron Taylor Johnson with the end of this, and
100%.
what's his next step. And also, like I said, I'm following the Walking Dead rule of like I didn't see Jodie Comer actually
I think she's alive.
Now, that would kind of undermine the really cool sentimental bit of Spike climbing the tower and putting his mom on the very top and facing her towards the sunrise. I'm like, that was cool.
Or does that pay off? Or does that pay off a scene of Spike and the doctor later on where you made me think my mom was dead, and he goes off on the doctor? That could go either way.
Yeah, and he summons his tracksuit Power Rangers to go kick his ass. I don't know.
Power Rangers, go! Megazord against Voldemort.
You know what? To be fair, Voldemort's wand does it. It looks like a bone, right? Doesn't it? I mean, it's got like the end of like a.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, Harry Potter.
He whittles.
Harry Potter is in England. Crossover opportunities.
He whittles that bone down in the shape of like a little shank, and he goes like, "Yeah, man, I get that." He just says some dumb shit and stabs the kid. I'm like, yeah, there it is.
I mean, look, if we're gonna cross over with anything, cross over the Fast and the Furious. Why not? Something needs to say that.
Is that a Dodge Charger coming over the hill? What the fuck? Paul Walker, what are you doing?
Take it to space. Why not the apocalypse? Why not?
Why not?
But that's what I want. So
I don't know. Tex, what do you think? What are you expecting? What would you like to see from the Bone Temple?
Well, like I said, the second I saw who was making the film, my expectations were lowered. But what I want plot-wise, what I think will happen, I think this one's going to be more Aaron Taylor Johnson heavily than this one was, because realistically, after the first 20 minutes of this movie, he's basically not present until the end. So I don't think you hire him and not use him anymore. I do think I believe I read somewhere that Cillian Murphy has a presence in the Bone Temple. Now, what that is, I don't know. I saw pictures of him on set wearing like this all black, like a long sleeve black shirt and pants. I don't know if that's behind the scenes still or in front of the camera. I don't know. I'd like to see something with Cillian Murphy, knowing that he's going to be around. Apocalypse Power Rangers, very interesting. Now knowing that there's a Jimmy Savile inspiration, how nasty are they going to go with that? You know it's not going to go well. I don't think Jodie Comer's dead. I think we're going to see her again. I think Voldemort's keeping her locked up in his, pit for muggles or whatever he does. I don't know how he handles it in this world. But here's the problem. This movie asks so many questions. You can go 1,000 different ways because, like I said earlier, I think they thought they were making a television show. Then halfway through, they're like, "Oh crap! You mean this is a 2.5-hour movie?" And then they just had to just piece something together. Now I like what they gave us, but they asked a lot of questions. So who knows what they're going to do?
Now we're gonna have homework to do. God damn it.
No, dude.
Dr. Nick checked in real quick to say, Case, just to remind us in case you like sick video games up his ass. You just finished rehearsal. Good. His band needs it. And he needs to have some dinner. See you later, boys. Yes, we've left you a couple of good clips for you and Alex to use on the stream.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I said I was going to give Frank a handy, so you can go take that.
Knock yourself out with that one. Knock yourself out.
That's your homework. Go find it.
A few weeks back, I was watching their stream and I was like, I just need to say a bunch of stupid shit to give you guys some new stuff to clip. He goes,
right.
Just keep talking. You say the stupid shit naturally, so just keep going.
So I was say, you don't have to prompt us to do it. We'll do it on our own. Just let us go.
Thing, you keep talking.
Right.
Yeah, I can. As far as the Bone Temple, look, me and Jeremy have talked about this with The Last of Us. I want to see a progression to an ending. Either the virus oversleeps the entire world and kills all human beings, or we somehow fight it back. I want a legit ending. If we just end with the world is now this way, I feel like I just feel like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of emotional investment to not really get anywhere. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like running on a treadmill. It's like, sure, you get some exercise in, but you're not going forward. You're not doing anything. The one thing I don't want to see
that hill.
The one thing I do not want to see is exactly what Tex is hoping to see. I do not want to see Isla, the Jodie Comer's character. I do not want to see her still alive. For one,
I think she is.
I think it would suck up a lot of screen time that would be better spent on other things. For two, the emotional weight of that entire sequence where he sits them both down and says, "Hey, this is the deal," and then the relatively peaceful way that she is allowed to go in that really heartfelt, although odd moment of him handing his mother's skull to him, which to me, I look, a 12-year-old kid, I don't know, that would have broken most 12-year-old kids, even kids that grew up in a rage virus infected apocalyptic world. That would have that's weird. But the emotional weight that entire scene carries, which is epically emotionally fantastic. I mean, that is my favorite sequence in this entire film. It kind of undoes all of that. Yeah. And so if she's still alive, I could never watch this movie again, years down the line and look at it and say, that moment is still fantastic to me. It would always forever be tainted. Much the same way that I constantly bitch about how The Force Awakens had such a great ending with her holding Luke's lightsaber out to him and him standing there. And then the panning shot all around him is, what's he going to do? Is he going to take it? Is he going to reconnect with the Force? How is this all going to work out? Moving down the line is Luke back? Just for him to take the thing and go thunk and then ruins that entire scene, ruins a beautiful ending to that movie. I think it would have the same effect, and I do not want to see it. I think Jodie Comer's death in this movie is beautifully done. It's given a great weight, and if I was the kind of person that would cry at movies, I would have cried in that scene right there. Because when I went and saw it, I actually went and saw it last night, and there was me and one other person in the movie sitting several rows behind me, and like as we were sitting there watching that scene, like as I was just kind of lipping, like both of us within like a couple of seconds there just kind of went, fuck. Like that was the only response we could have. It was so emotional and so well shot, and so there was such great dialogue. It's so well acted by all the three people involved in the scene. That scene was so beautiful in so many ways that it hit hard. And if she ends up being alive, then that ruins that entire scene. And I don't think it's a smart thing to do. I don't think Danny Boyle would do that either, because I do think that he does love this franchise. It is a pet project, a passion project of his. I don't think that he'd want to undo the beauty of that scene by Jodie Comer walking out of the bushes one day and being like, oh, psych, I'm still here. That would be such a goofy fucking way to ruin that scene. I just don't think it would work. What do I want to see? I want to see a lot of the elements from the first three movies come together and start to explain exactly what's happening in the route that humanity is taking to either deal with this thing or to contain it. Because all we know right now is that there's a kid out there somewhere from the second movie that apparently has got some genes in his blood that can stop this thing or at least cure it. We maybe had this new baby who is the same thing. Is there something in this baby we can use to heal people? We don't know. That's a big question that's left out there. How did they deal with the thing in Paris? I'll go into what I forget if it was Boyle or who said it about how they possibly handled things in Paris. But I mean, how did they handle it? Did the kid go back to Paris and they took some blood? It was like, oh, here's how we deal with it. They dealt with it in Paris, and for some reason they won't go and get these people off this island 30 years later and give them the vaccine and give them the jab so they don't get the rage COVID. And
they didn't get their Fauci
and kind of save all their lives. I mean, there's so many questions I want to see answered, and like I said, I want to see if there's going to be 2 more movies after this, the Bone Temple, and then whatever else they want to do, the second, third, to make it a new trilogy, which really annoys me now, to be honest. We're going to do 2 movies, and then be like, okay, now this third movie is going to be the beginning of a trilogy. No, that's not how trilogies work. Trilogy's 3. You can't start a trilogy on movie number 3.
This is number 3, guys.
But yeah, I want to see a natural progression of the story, because I like it when there's a proper ending. Either everybody dies at the end, or they finally figure it out and they kill the rage virus and it goes away. But I want to see a proper ending. I get tired of being left in the lurch. So many TV shows that I've watched over the years have done that, and it's frustrating. It makes me want to shoot a hole in my television.
And I know this probably won't happen, but with the way that they structured this film, now that we know the rest of the world is the way that we live today, I don't know if you do like a mini series or something within this world. I want to see an 8-episode mini series, how the rest of the world handled this problem. Because we obviously know they've got cell phones and everything else. So you can still have all your rage monster fun, but it's through the perspective of like the UN and NATO, and not like how they did it too, but take a larger approach, because there are too many questions answered in this movie to answer in one or even 2 more films. So they're going to have to do something to flesh this out, or we're just going to have to accept, oh, okay, this happened and they never talked about it yet, which I think is more likely. But they do have potential here to branch out, and 28 years later, blah, blah, blah. You know, they can branch out on this if they want to franchise it, and there's potential to make it good. So who knows?
Yeah, but I don't know. However it works out, I'm interested to see what comes next. Now, let's get into a little bit of trivia now, and I have a few interesting tidbits. I actually found a fair bit of trivia for a movie that's very new, but let's get into these now. And I'll go to this again. The Alpha, one of the cool behind the scenes shots that I really like. Let's see. The film was primarily shot using an iPhone 15 Pro Max, which makes this film the biggest feature-length movie to be shot on a smartphone.
Well, and it gives it. I mean, it's new technology, but it kind of still has like a grainy effect to make it look like the first one for that art house style. I like how they did that. It still had kind of the shaky cam a little bit at times, especially running, and it works for that. Because that's one of the things that made 28 Days Later stand out so much was it's like the perfect blend of like a found footage with a standard camera. And, you know, iPhone technology or cell phone technology is so advanced now you can do stuff. So, we're in a good point.
But let's see. As far as trailers go, the trailer for this film in the first 24 hours received 60 million online views, making it wow. I think I read somewhere that it was the 3rd or 4th all time for the first 24 hours, which is no small feat considering that the movies that are in front of you are things like Jurassic Park and Star Wars, or maybe the Avengers.
You're welcome, because I watched that thing several times. Yeah.
They're gonna say they got a good number of clicks off of me too. To pull a Starship Trooper, I did my part. So
I'm doing my part.
Want to know more?
Would you want to know more?
Watch the movie. Go buy a ticket to the movie. But honestly, I really like the way the trailer was done too. At least the first trailer, there was no dialogue.
Well,
there was just that story or poem, whatever it is, playing over the chant.
Yeah,
I can't be mad at. Well, this is why I said, I made the joke earlier of the whole, mom line. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. Yes, this is a bait and switch if you just watch the trailer. But what I like about the trailer is they show you awesome stuff without telling you any plot line. If you watch 99% of trailers these days, you pretty much saw the movie. That's very unfortunate, and it ruins so many films. But this one didn't do that. So, yeah, they showed us a different movie, a different cut, a different edit. But I don't know, maybe they do a different cut of the movie to throw some of that in or whatever. But trailer wise, it was awesome. It obviously worked. It very clickbaity. So good job, studio.
I watched
you
the
got
trailer. I watched the trailer just today as like a little bit of a refresher before going live. And even after
Yeah.
having seen the movie and already knowing everything about it, the trailer still builds tension a lot.
It
Like,
is. It's nerve wracking with that 7, 10, 11. The counting.
Well, there's a reason for that as well. I mean, I'll explain that here in a minute. I think I put that in the trivia. But I mean, it's just on top of that. It's just like the music that plays in the trailer. It's like even that is the tempo slowly rises as the trailer goes on. So it builds that tension, audibly and everything. It builds tension in a way that a lot of trailers just don't. And not putting dialogue in there and just showing the visuals, just having that cadence playing over it and the slowly everything ramping up. It gets your heart pumping really fast. And this was, as I was watching it just a couple hours ago, already seeing the movie and knowing everything already, I was like, damn, this trailer is still good. I mean, I can watch it after seeing the movie. It's pretty good.
It's a great trailer. Yeah.
What was I going to go to next? Oh, no, I'll pick this picture because why not? Let's see. I got to go back to this picture because this is going to address something you were talking about earlier, Tex. The genitals in the film were simulated through photorealistic prosthetics.
Right. Well, from what I read, because they had kids on set, they couldn't have naked people walking around, is why they did that. But my question is, okay, so you can't, which I totally agree with, by the way. You shouldn't be naked in front of children like that. But you're going to do simulated suits that are basically the real thing and throw them in front of the children? Like, what's really the difference? Like, I mean, if you can't have them naked, okay, well, throw a loincloth on them and have them be Tarzan. Like, to me, that, like,
I mean, they may not be in
the amount of,
yeah.
well, the amount of dick shots in this movie, like, was just, I mean, when they're overtly cutting to it just because Danny Boyle, I don't know if that's what he's into or whatever, but it seemed like he kind of really wanted to show the fake ding dong. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not sure what was going on. But
I at least appreciate the realism of like, yeah, none of these infected would really have clothes anymore after 30 years. So I'm like, yeah, it'd be kind of horrifying. They're all just naked and running after you at fucking breakneck speed. So,
but if the point of it is we can't show nudity around children, throw a fucking loincloth on. It's fine. Like, I'm not gonna. You're not gonna break my disbelief.
Well,
you
gotta remember, just because children are in the movie doesn't mean they were there when necessarily. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be on set when certain things are filmed. I'm willing to bet that when the alpha guy is walking around with his twig and berries hanging out, that was a separate shot, and then the 12-year-old kid who plays Spike is shot.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they cut it together.
So it's not like that 12-year-old boy is watching dude with his dingling hanging out from 15 feet away, chasing him through the woods of England.
Were they over there like? You ever seen a grown man naked? Prisons.
Well, and see that. Okay, I'll tell you this.
Sorry,
y'all know me in nudity in films. I approve of nudity in films. Male, throw both of them in there. That's fine. There is a severe lack of boobage in this movie compared to Ding Dong. Like, the only real boobage you get is pregnant chick doing her thing. Like, it should have been more titties in this movie.
I disagree. I think you actually get better, cleaner, longer shots of naked infected girl. Not that would turn me on in the moment or anything, but naked infected girl. When they're showing Alpha Guy, they're showing Alpha Guy running around the woods, they're all a bunch of shaky cam, not really setting the camera on him for a very long time. They're quick edits, so you don't really get a chance to look. So
there was one thing, like, when you first see Jodie Comer, like when you first introduce her in this movie, she kind of like rolls over in bed and they do like a tit shot. I'm like, was there nipple there? Like, I went back just to double check if nipple was shown. Nipple was not shown, unfortunately. So I cannot count that on the boob count. So sorry.
I think when we saw that when they were in the train, and when I was watching it with Rachel, and you see that infected lady's pregnant. I was kind of like, oh shit, like in the moment. But from over the next seat, I hear her go, "They're fucking." I'm like, just breaks the silence completely. Like, wait, they're fucking. I was like, I guess they are. I don't know. I hope we explain this. Like, yeah.
Well, like I said,
was
that's
so
a
funny.
direct rip from Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, where the dead people were diddling each other. So apparently they're reproduction. So.
But let's see, where am I at now? Oh yeah, this is going to touch on something that Jeremy was talking about earlier. Let's see. Although the ending of 28 Weeks Later in 2007 showed the rage virus cross the British border and reach Paris, this sequel shows that 28 years later, the outbreak is still contained within the UK and the country is under a strict quarantine after it was pushed back from mainland Europe. Writer Alex Garland stated in a 2025 Reddit AMA that Paris was likely nuked soon after the infected arrived, so that the virus, viral spread to the European mainland was quickly stopped in its tracks.
Whoa.
Oh, Danny Boyle,
France is right fucking underneath the UK. You do not drop a bomb and not have that also then affect. Is that it? Like I said, you're not explaining shit. Is the Fallout, because I love Fallout. Trust me, I love
We need to get Danny Boyle on this call immediately so I can yell at him. I've got questions. Like, this needs to happen.
Yeah, you don't drop a bomb that close to, like, right on France and not have that affect the UK. There is no goddamn no.
Well, let's be honest, Jay. Well, again, you're talking. I mean, this is kind of getting in the weeds about yields and things like that.
I know, but
if you think
there's
about
H bombs that don't have as much radiation.
But this rage infection is fucking. It moves like wildfire. I'm like, you'd have to nuke the whole fucking place.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima, if you ever actually looked, like nuke map, I don't know if you guys ever messed around on a nuke map. It's actually going to kick out of this. You can nuke different places in the country. So if you next time the Niners beat the Cowboys, you can go.
Maybe I could aim at a certain Middle East tiny hat that I could deal with. Solve a lot of America's problems right now.
But you can actually go on there and you can pick different places around the world to drop different bombs that actually exist. One of them is the bombs that were used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the 40s. And if you actually drop that bomb, you realize that it's not very big.
You get to drop Big Boy?
Yes, you do. You have to drop both Fat Man and the Little Boy.
Yeah, it was Fat Man and Little Boy, right?
Yeah, you can drop them both. You can also drop like the biggest conceived nuclear weapon and all that. But it'll show you like it'll give you like a target about where like from this range everything.
They need to remake the movie War Games, but with me as the lead role. That's a whole nother kind of horror film. I'm wiping everybody out. So,
and the over/under on how many times the word "y'all" will be said in that film. I don't know if you can get the license to wear the Cowboys gear. I know you're gonna want to wear the Cowboys.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have to talk to. Well, no, actually, Jerry Jones loves his marketing, so I might be able to get that blue star on there somewhere. So I'll talk to it.
But the bombs that they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki were not all that big. So you conceivably, and it was just
that's why no one like died,
and it was
as much
just,
as you would think.
And it was just several months later that American forces and Japanese folks went in to like assess the damage in the situation, and now a scant. What are we 80 years almost later? Everybody's living in Hiroshima and there's no radioactivity anywhere. So maybe
just don't drop it in the ocean so Godzilla doesn't. Shouldn't Godzilla be in this world? I mean, that's how Godzilla was made, right?
He comes from the Pacific. They're over the Atlantic. He comes from the Pacific.
Could you imagine a British Godzilla? What does a British Godzilla look like? I need to see that.
I don't know, but he doesn't tear up cities. He eats tea and crumpets.
A British Godzilla versus the Rage Virus. Ooh, a British Godzilla with the Rage Virus. I'm making a whole new franchise.
He just apologizes a lot.
No, he's not Canadian. That's what them Canucks do up there. That's Nick and all.
He's also very polite. He'll step in a car and be like, "Excuse me, sir. Do you know how to get to Buckingham Palace? I have a tour." But let's see. Next little bit of trivia. Let's see. I'll go back to totally not Cillian Murphy. Archival video of Cillian Murphy's character Jim saying hello from 28 Days Later is used at the end of the film to misdirect the audience, as the voice is revealed to actually be Jack O'Connell as Sir Jimmy Crystal.
That totally wasn't used as a bait switch, but was it Marvel that got sued for misleading trailers about Hulk being in Infinity War or something like that.
You know what's funny? We talked about this several years ago. Danny Boyle, the director of this film, in the first film, did this movie called Yesterday, in which the Beatles never existed.
The Beatles movie, yeah.
And that's the movie that got sued for false advertising because they put Anna de
So
Armas.
he did it again.
They put
He didn't
Anna
learn
de
his
Armas.
lesson.
They put Anna de Armas in the trailers for those movies, but ended up cutting her part from when the trailer first came out to when when it finally got put in the can, and they actually got a releasable version. And somebody sued because they were like, "Hey, I wanted to see Anna de Armas. That's the whole reason I paid $20 to watch this on Amazon."
I'm calling my attorney tomorrow. We're getting this case going. He obviously didn't learn his lesson.
I can tell you why. I can tell you why you would lose, and I think that case actually got thrown out. I think we even talked about that a couple of years ago. But they actually shoot scenes that are never intended to go into the film.
Oh, I know. Every movie shoots things just for the trailer, yeah. But hey, that way maybe I can get some of these questions answered. I know I'm going to lose a lawsuit, but I'm going to get to see him at least once, so maybe I can get some questions answered for him. So.
He's got to be at a con sometime soon. We can send Jeremy out.
Right. I'm going to
street.
show up with you've been served, Mr. Boyle. I'll see you in court. He probably doesn't even live in America. We'll see.
Let's see. Originally, the follow-up was set to be titled 28 Months Later, continuing with the movie's timeline set title motif. However, so much time had passed since visiting the world in 2007. From 28 weeks later, it was deemed more appropriate to name the film 28 Years Later, which makes sense because the first movie came out 2004, so that's almost 20 years ago.
I can't believe that they didn't wait 2 more years to actually have 28 years later. I can't believe they didn't wait.
Well, I mean,
the crazy thing about movies, guys, is you can set them in any time period you want. You don't have to fucking.
I know, but
people did wait 20 years. No, I'm talking about Danny Boyle again. I'm like, you don't have to do that, man. You can set it back.
Halloween did it in 2018 for the 40th year anniversary. Yes. It was a huge thing. They marketed it up and everything else. I figured they would have. If I were going to make it 28 years later and had the opportunity to do it 28 years later, I would have sat on it and waited till then, just for marketing reasons.
Let's see. Going on, there's actually a repeat of a song in here, and I don't have a really good picture for it, so I'm just going to put, I'll go this one up here since it involves kids. Let's see. The group of children sing the hymn "Abide With Me" at the school early in the film. And 28 days later, this exact song is playing in the background as Jim discovers his dead parents.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't notice that.
That's cool.
It's one of those things where it's like, unless you know the score and know the music, you're probably not going to catch it anyway.
Right.
I sure as shit didn't. I would have known this if I wasn't looking at some.
I didn't. Well, I mean, it's been a couple weeks since I rewatched 28 Days, so yeah, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, we've talked a few times about that cadence already. Let's see. The trailer features a distinctive recording of the poem "Boots" by Rudyard Kipling that was read by the actor Taylor Holmes in 1915. The poem's repetitive rhythm imagines the march of British soldiers during the Boer War. And this recording of the poem is used by the U.S. military even today to simulate the psychological distress of being held captive.
I love it.
There was a link to the YouTube video that just had that. And I was like, it does have a weird haunting. Like, it does just, like you said, keep building up to where he's almost hysterical saying it by the end. And I'm like, that's a really cool way to do that. It was really cool to see.
If they ever do like a Universal haunted attraction, like at Universal Studios, they have to have that playing throughout the haunt. Could you imagine going through a haunted house, whatever, with that blaring in your ears? That'd be amazing.
Trying to say hi to AJ in the chat real quick. What's up, AJ? Shout out, my man.
What's up, AJ?
Let's see. Jeremy, you were bitching about it earlier. Here's a little bit of an explanation.
Well, you're going to give me more explanation than this fucking movie, Will. So you tell.
It's totally not Cillian Murphy. We're gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy, whose character survives the events of 28 Days Later, has been confirmed as not appearing in the movie, although the makers don't rule out his return in one of the planned sequels. Yet, viewers spotted a scene in the trailer that featured an emaciated zombie that looks suspiciously like Murphy. Fan speculation was quickly quelled when art dealer Angus Neal came forward about being cast in the movie and appearing as the emaciated zombie in the trailer. Director Danny Boyle took the blame for the misunderstanding, saying, quote, I showed my girlfriend the trailer and she said, people will think that's Cillian. I said, don't be silly. I ignored her. So I've eaten a bit of humble pie since. But no, that is not him.
To his old lady.
That is not him.
It is.
Yeah,
and I'm not
it's totally not him, except we took his voice and laid it over that in the trailer. But, it's totally not him or anything. Whatever.
I still remain unconvinced.
Well, like I said,
I'm sorry. Now that Frank told me about this damn website, I'm dropping nukes on Paris.
You're dropping nukes everywhere.
I really am. I'm messing with this thing. You got me down a rabbit hole.
It's really interesting and really scary all at the same time. You can actually go on there. I think I've actually streamed before where I've actually messed around with that. And I think one time I actually got Drew to do it as well. We were doing the derailed stuff with him forever ago. I think one time he had spent 20 minutes just I think he nuked Casey's house or something like that.
I wonder if I can take out Oklahoma without damage in Texas. I'm going to need something low radiation.
Remember, it's the fallout you got to worry about.
Like I said,
the nuke only takes care of the one area. It's the fallout and where it's going to blow. So if it blows down towards your neck of the woods, that's where you're going to be in trouble.
I'm thinking maybe we can't nuke it. We're just going to have to ground assault all them meth heads up there and reclaim it.
Or we just give them more meth and let nature take its course.
that is true. That is true. Yeah.
That is all the trivia I've got. For that film, AJ saying hey to everybody. What's up? What's up? What's up, AJ?
What's going on, man?
Hey.
But AJ comes in kind of late. We're getting ready to wrap this thing up. Let me get your guys' final thoughts on 28 years later. I'll go to you first, Tex. What do you think? Give me your final thoughts on the movie.
Yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. Do I have my problems with it? Sure, but generally when a film asks more questions than it answers, I don't like it as well. But I enjoyed this one. I liked the world that they laid out. I liked the going back to the look of the first one with the gore of the second. I liked the acting was first class. We spent 20 minutes talking about it. Story-wise, it's kind of wide open here. They can go in many directions, which I guess, perspective thing, how you want to look at it. But if you haven't seen it, I would recommend going to see it and really take it. The visuals in this film are just so gorgeous to look at. The story is what it is, but this is one you need to see in theaters because the film is massive and it's a must watch for sure.
Jeremy, how about you? Give me your final thoughts on 28 years later.
Oh,
sorry, I'm cleaning up Paris. My bad. I apologize to all our French viewers that we probably don't have.
He's trying to aim at Danny Boyle's house right now. Is what he's looking. So.
Well, I'm almost tickling Brighton there with some radiation and some wind. But, I like this movie. Like I said, it was kind of a different movie than I thought I was going to see. Now, I get what Tex is saying. It's like this wasn't like an open and shut movie that still resided within this world. It was like, hey, we're gonna do all this stuff and then not explain it so that you have to watch like 3 more movies. I'm like, I will come back, right? I'll come back if you keep making these movies, but not because I now have to do homework and like now I saw this and like I said, I left a little more confused with more questions like we were talking about that now I have to hopefully answer in the next 2 movies. But this was a good movie. I definitely enjoyed this and I would recommend it. You can still watch these movies and not, I don't know how you would watch it and not watch the other 2, but
well, apparently worth 2 doesn't count anymore, so fuck that movie. You ain't gonna watch it.
I guess. Like you said, Cannon, who even I hardly know her, I guess.
If the creator doesn't care, why should we? I
guess. It's definitely Cillian Murphy, and you're not gonna fucking I don't care. I don't care how many times you tell me it's not him.
So Frank went off on the key card. Jeremy went off on the Cillian Murphy. Like, what's the next movie?
We'll have plenty to say when Bone Temple comes around. Like I said, you should probably listen to your girlfriend there.
If we see Cillian Murphy with a key card in Bone Temple, I'm gonna lose. Like, oh my god, that's gonna be something. So,
no, it was fun. There was some cool, there's some cool brutality in this movie. Like I said, with the alpha, like ripping people's head off.
Oh yeah,
Scorpion style. Like, holy crap!
Get over
like I said. I didn't think the Rage Zombies or Rage Infected could get any more terrifying, but they definitely did that. So I mean, props to that. We'll see you next time in the Bone Temple, I hope. Whatever that means.
Still think Mom's not dead. I think y'all are going to be wrong on it. At least Frank's going to be wrong on this one. I got a feeling.
Yeah, Fat Man wouldn't have taken out enough of Paris to matter.
I'm looking at it too. I'm like, well, if I blow the wind this way, it'll eventually get across the channel. You're talking about Paris. I'm like, you're telling me it didn't go to this city first, right on the other end of the channel? You've had to nuke that whole goddamn area.
Yeah,
I'm thinking like timeline wise.
You would need like the Tsar bomb or something like that to take out
the Tsar bomb
port of Paris.
Well, I'm trying to think of like, well, you're talking about stuff in the 40s. I'm like, this happened.
You know, out of everything on the internet, that seems very irresponsible. That's like, this is my Joker moment. This is how I became a bad guy. I went on the internet and learned to bomb cities. Like, that's a very, very questionable things online. I'm going to go do it. As soon as we get off of here, the rest of my night, I know what I'm doing. So, watch out, Middle East. I guess that's all I can say. Good luck to you. We'll figure it out.
I drop more than one. Like, what the hell? Why can't I only do one?
I like where your head's at. Yeah,
I'm like, you didn't just bomb once. You had to have bombed like most of fucking France. There's no way.
Right.
Just don't mind me. I'm.
maybe that's what they did. Maybe they were just
Jeremy's
like,
in his
let's just
villain origin story right now.
Let's sacrifice France to save the rest of the world. I'm okay with that.
I can think of some other countries I'd rather trade than France, but that's
but that's where the infection is. So
right.
It's like we just up and move the infection. You know what I mean? But as far as me, look, I love the movie. I thought it was fantastic. Again, plot holes notwithstanding, I thought it took the best elements of both the first and the second movie and finally combined them and do something really fantastic. Okay. The acting was fantastic. Hope to see more Ralph Fiennes in the second movie because he's just good. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed watching this kid in the movie too. He was something special. It was a big role to step into for a 12-year-old kid in his major film debut, and he does it perfectly. And like watching him grow, his confidence grow, just everything about him change over the course of just this couple hours of movie. His character development was fantastic. Jodie Comer, fantastic as always. But I think it's a fantastic movie. Go see it in the theaters if you have a chance. It's already made its budget back in the first week of release, so go help it out. I mean, it's totally worth it.
Good
Again, it's gonna answer one or two questions. It's gonna ask you about 50 more, and hopefully we'll figure out the answer to those questions later on. But yeah, I think it's a great movie. I think that you guys will really enjoy it. So go check it out in theaters. It's the best way. Still the best way to see a movie after all. But we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Thanks to my co-host for being so awesome. As usual, starting with my header life mate, Jeremy. Where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Definitely not switching tabs back to the show so I can do this outro.
He's only nuked most of Europe in the last 20 minutes.
Eastern Europe is gone by this point. It's,
yeah, pretty much. I'm here Tuesday and Thursdays. Apparently, I have the keys to the car on Thursday, so I guess you're
Dad's not watching. Time to have a party.
All right, well, bring the kegs in and the hookers.
No
shit. That's so. I don't really know what we're doing Thursday. I'll think of something. Maybe we can do some Kevin Smith to kind of lighten the mood a little bit, since like Mallrats and a bunch of other stuff was on Amazon at least. I know Mallrats was. So that's what.
Probably do the Kevin Smith stuff in order. Right?
Well, what is?
I don't think it really matters. Yeah, I don't think it really matters.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, we could do close, but work it out on the ground. So that's what I got going on.
It's like staring at a boat. Some people see it.
It's a schooner. It's a sailboat. That is a boat. Easter Bunny's not real.
Ethan Suplee's best role. Should have won an Oscar for that performance. I swear it. Head of the shit, the Lone Star State, my man Tex. Where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Not sure about Thursday. Have to go pick the kid up from the summer camp, so I'll let y'all know time-wise on that. But otherwise, be here Thursday, and F1 comes out this weekend, the Brad Pitt racing movie. Really looking forward to that. I've heard really good things.
It has gotten some pretty good reviews. Kind of surprised.
Yeah, it apparently they spent like $300 million making this movie, so it's probably not going to make $1, but it looks amazing. So, who knows? But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So go check that in some theaters. Very cool popcorn bucket. They have a driver's helmet as the popcorn bucket for the movie, so I'm looking forward to that too. So, go check that out this weekend and be back here Thursday, and we'll see what's going on. So we'll figure it out. So.
Jeremy will be here on Thursday doing whatever Jeremy wants to do. It might have Brooding Gamer here. Maybe you guys can do a preview of Jurassic, whatever the hell we're getting, Jurassic World Regurgence, or whatever the hell that movie's going to be.
Something.
Jurassic World refund is what
it's
getting
it online. It's getting some tough reviews, but I'm going to hold out hope. I'm going to hold out hope because I'm confident it's going to be good. I'm going to hold out hope. I'm still going to go see it. I have to because it's a Jurassic Park movie. I got to go see it. But Jeremy will be here doing whatever the hell he wants to on Thursday, whether Tex is here or not. We will eventually get to the View Askew Universe movies. Again, me and Jeremy have kind of talked about it. We don't really have an order that we need to do them in. They're all kind of great standalone films. They do kind of overlap a little, obviously, with Jay and Silent Bob, a couple of the small things, but I think maybe we'll just we want to do this movie today. Okay, great. And that's the one we're going to do. We don't have to do them in order, but we'll get to that. And again, next month is going to be it's going to be a busy month. We've got 4 huge movies coming out next month.
Well, we got Superman, fantastic flops. I mean, 4 is going to come out. Jurassic World. There's a bunch of stuff coming out.
Yeah, it's going to be July is going to be hot. Let's see. We got F1 comes out. Let's see what else we got. Jurassic World comes out on the 2nd, and then the 11th we've got Superman. Then the 18th we've got I Know What You Did Last Summer, which the trailers have looked good. I'm kind of interested.
I will say, and I've talked about it. Look into the movie Together, starring James Franco's brother. I can't remember his first name. The one from Now You See Me, Now You Don't, and Allison Brie. It's a Cronenberg kind of body horror film that looks kind of interesting. That's also in July. That one might be worth looking into. So check out that trailer.
Yeah, Jurassic World. Let's see what else I know she did last summer. Fantastic Four, the 25th. Then as we get through that into August, we get the Naked Gun, which is looking awesome.
There are two. There are 2 horror films coming out on the weekend of August on my birthday. So there's Weapons, and then there's another one. I can't remember the name of it right now. So I'm gonna have a cool double feature on my birthday weekend in August. So I'm looking forward to it as well. So
yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be a pretty busy month in July. So maybe we'll make the big tentpole movies the Tuesdays, and then maybe Thursdays I'll just kind of let Jeremy run the maybe on Thursdays we can do the View Askew Universe stuff. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it all out. But thanks to you guys for being here and being awesome as always. Thanks to all of you guys for coming to check out. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Rumble as well. That's going to help out a lot. I think we're only 5 subscribers away on Rumble from being able to monetize over there. And quite frankly, I'd rather be monetized on Rumble than YouTube. Also, Twitter. I actually promoted this on Twitter, so we've got some good views on Twitter tonight. Thank you very much for all of you watching on Twitter. We will see you guys next time. Until then, adios.
I've got questions, Mr. Boyle. We need to talk. Continuity matters, Dan. I don't care what you say.
Continuity, schnotinuity.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.